So our next panel will be looking at grounding Moonshot in reality. And here I'm particularly pleased to be having with me Craig Civil, who is the Director of Data Science and AI at the British Standards Inclusion. Craig is an experienced data and digital professional, especially in the areas of artificial intelligence, data innovation, data strategy, and digital analytics. So Craig, please welcome on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please give him a warm welcome.
So, I've always wanted to walk on stage to music. Mission achieved. So, thank you all. My name is Craig Civil. I'm the Director of Data Science and AI, and I work for the British Standards Institution. So, a reminder that we're in the Moonshot thinking track. And I work with the British Standards Institution, an organisation that was formed in 1901. So the organisation that I work for is over 100 years old. So I'm kind of going, you want me to go to the Moonshot thinking track at the AI Summit and talk about, and you want me to present in that track. This was the pitch that was presented to me. Yes, we do. Okay, that sounds a little bit scary. What shall I talk about? But it was okay, because even though I've been following a futurologist there with that fantastic presentation, before that we had NASA, that's something to follow. But then I kind of got thinking about the work that we're doing at BSI, and I said, okay, challenge accepted, 15 minutes on the topic of moonshot thinking, but let's demystify some of the language. Let's bring it down to reality. We've had some fantastic presentations so far, but how do you bring these things, these great ideas to life? What do you need to do? What are the practicalities of bringing a moonshot idea, moonshot product, to reality? So stick with me for 18 minutes, and hopefully I will give you an examples of how organisations like the British Standards Institution can help you achieve that. So, firstly, we're a standards organisation, so I have to start the presentation with a definition. So I thought, well, let me go to good old Wikipedia. The sources are available, of course, and let's get a definition so we're all clear in terms of what I'm here standing and presenting to you about. So a moonshot. What we're talking about here is way out ideas, far off, something that just seems so, how can we possibly tackle that particular problem? And we're talking about data, technology, and very handily for this summit, the use of artificial intelligence. A big societal problem that needs tackling. So then I got to thought, okay, so moonshots. What examples of moonshots have actually become reality? So a bit more research. I found kind of 5 that I thought, yeah, I get that. I get what those are doing, and some of those I've experienced myself. So virtual reality. I think virtual reality we've probably all experienced in some form or another, whether it's been for like gaming and social use, but in the world of things like standards and BSI, we're using virtual reality now as part of our assurance service. It became particularly relevant during the pandemic when we were forbidden to meet people, to go to places. Virtual reality became a really good way of keeping the service going, keeping the conformity to standards. Self-driving car. Maybe still a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of resistance to a self-driving car. But companies like Waymo in the States, there are now self-driving cars. I was brave enough to go into a Waymo a few months back, and here I am. I survived it, and although it's slightly weird, it's reality. That moonshot has become reality. So then I got to thinking, so what's next in line for moonshots? What's going to come along, and what's being worked on right now? So things like next generation batteries. I think we could probably all see the need to improve the lifespan of current batteries, the lithium-ion batteries. So there are now different sources. Things like sodium are being used in those batteries to increase the life, so that we can all make this transition to electric vehicles, for example. carbon capture and storage. Hold on to that one, because I've got a use case that we're currently working on at BSI in regard to that. 6G. We've all got 5Gs now, so 6G seems the next logical movement in terms of the availability of a much more enhanced and faster mobile network. And then one that's really out there, immortality. Gosh, immortality. Am I happy about immortality? Not sure. But one thing's for sure, we haven't quite got a standard yet that's going to define immortality. But this was why I was kind of, my initial reticence, I understood, and I feel confident to talk to you about kind of, let's bring you back from those moonshot ideas, and how are you going to make them a reality? How was I confident, almost, to get into that Waymo self-driving car? How did that car head down the highway? What did that company need to do to get that car on the road so that I was able to be a paying customer and get in that car and trust it? Assurance to standards, compliance with regulation. Not always the most glamorous topics to talk about, particularly in an AI summit, but from an AI guy, I can tell you that they are very, very important, because they will lead to trust in your Moonshot products. We've heard a lot about trust so far, trust in AI. It's been a feature of the presentations this morning that I've been listening to. So, assurance to standards. So as I mentioned in my introduction, BSI is the UK national standards body. It was formed in 901, but it's a global organisation, and it works alongside and with other standard organisations around the globe, and it's part of international ISO, international standards organisations, as well as CEN, CENELEC for the EU, and also the IEC. Lots of acronyms there, but time is short. Standards are incredible, valuable assets to companies. When I first joined BSI a couple of years ago, I was seeing this rich repository of what essentially is data. A standard is data. But standards are quite hard to get hold of. They're quite hard to understand. They can be delivered in quite an opaque manner. So we're making it our mission at BSI at the moment to make those standards more accessible to our current customers, and even more importantly, to customers that kind of, as I say, kind of are creating something new, and they want that support and guidance in terms of what's out there at the moment, what can help me build this product to a certified standard. So we're exploring some of the things that have been talked about today. Generative AI is obviously a hot topic. Large language models are really good at understanding text information. A standard is a text document. So we're exploring right now kind of using large language models over that text data. And from a very high level question, dear BSI, how do I become net zero compliant? We can then navigate and surface those standards that are relevant to answer that question. And not only provide you with a document, we're now making those standards available as chunks of data that you can feed into your systems. So we could argue that we're actually moonshotting ourselves in terms of using the latest technology to surface some really valuable information. Regulation. So there's a reason there's a world map behind me, because in particular with regards to AI, regulation is now kind of definitely an emerging theme. I think we'll probably all agree that. But there's such variation about AI and regulation of AI around the globe. Different strategies being taken by different countries, different territories. It's quite tricky to kind of keep track of what's going on with regulation, and in particular with AI. But again, to kind of bring your products, to get the investment that you need from investors into your product, at some point you are going to need to demonstrate compliance with regulation in where you want to place where you want to put your product or your service. So services are now coming online. We've got one example at BSI in terms of how we can use kind of technology algorithmic auditing to validate that the algorithms, the data, the training data sets that you've used to create your product is compliant with the regulation in those particular areas. I will do a seamless plug for my colleagues. In track 5 tomorrow, 11:10, there's an actual demonstration of kind of how you can use this technology to look at your training data sets and your code. I said I would come back to the carbon capture and storage topic. At BSI, we've just opened a sustainability innovation lab in Cambridge in the UK. And we are working with a series of 6 startup organizations that have kind of got their own moonshot examples, their own products, their own ideas to tackle one of society's biggest problems at the moment, the climate change and how it will become more sustainable. So kind of a good example, if you like, of how you can take a moonshot example and then bring that to life in one of the biggest topics of sustainability, and it's happening in an organization like BSI. So, again, shameless plug, we're here, we're on stand B40, and we've got some various demonstrations and people that you can come and talk to in terms of the actual assurance, the standards, and compliance with regulation. Thank you.